Compost usually works from the top down. You pile it, wait, turn it, and hope the biology lines up. What changed everything for me was stopping the idea of compost as a pile and treating it as a living system with layers that stay in place. At the center of that shift was Comfrey. Not chopped, not brewed, not hauled away, but grown and used as a permanent living layer that quietly unlocked mycorrhizal networks beneath the surface. Comfrey isn't valuable because it grows fast, it's valuable because of how it grows. Its roots drive deep, mining calcium, potassium, phosphorus and trace minerals far below the reach of most plants. Those nutrients don't stay trapped underground, they're pulled up, stored in leaves, and return to the surface when the plant sheds growth or is cut back. This makes Comfrey a biological elevator, constantly lifting fertility upward without disturbing soil structure. Instead of cutting Comfrey and tossing it into compost, I let it live at the compost edge and within beds as a permanent layer. Leaves are cut and laid directly on soil. Roots remain untouched. This creates a steady, low-disruption nutrient flow that supports fungi instead of shocking bacteria with sudden inputs. Unlike turning compost, this system doesn't break fungal networks, it feeds them. Why mycorrhizal fungi respond so strongly to Comfrey? Mycorrhizal fungi thrive on consistent carbon sources. Comfrey provides that through root exudates that leak sugars continuously into soil. These sugars feed fungal hyphae, which then extend outward, linking plant roots, composting materials and surrounding soil into one cooperative system. This is where compost becomes something more than decomposed matter. It becomes infrastructure. So the compost stopped smelling like decay and started smelling, well, more like forest soil. Moisture, stayed stable. Nutrients moved slowly and predictably instead of, just flushing away. Plants growing near the living layer developed thicker stems, deeper color, and honestly improved drought tolerance. The soil became sponge-like, not crumbly in a dry way, but really resilient. Traditional compost, it relies on bacterial heat, but the living layer, well, that relies on fungal digestion. Leaves break down quietly instead of just collapsing into sludge. Worms move freely without fleeing high temperatures. This creates compost that's biologically mature rather than just decomposed. The difference shows up in how plants respond long-term. Comfrey should be planted at the edge of beds or compost zones, not buried inside piles. Space plants about 3 feet apart. Allow roots to establish for one season before heavy harvesting. When cutting leaves, lay them flat over soil or compost surfaces instead of burying them. Thickness matters. 1 to 2 inches of leaves is enough. More creates anaerobic conditions. Because nutrients cycle continuously through living tissue, they don't leach away. Rain doesn't wash them out. Microbes process them gradually. This is especially important for potassium and calcium, which Comfrey accumulates in large quantities. Instead of dumping fertility all at once, the system meters it out. What not to do with Comfrey in this system? Do not till it under, do not chop roots, do not use it as a one-time green manure. Disturbing the root system collapses the fungal partnerships you're trying to build. This is about permanence, not speed. Compost stopped being a chore, There was no turning, no rushing, no fixing. The living layer just maintained itself. Soil improved continuously rather than in bursts. The system became quieter but, well, more powerful. So why does this approach work better over time rather than, right away? Well, the thing is, the biggest gains really start to show up in year 2 and 3. That's when the fungal networks have a chance to expand, and soil aggregates, they stabilize. Plants, believe it or not, end up needing less feeding. This is what I'd call slow intelligence, not just a bunch of quick fixes. Comfrey isn't some sort of magic, honestly. It's all about alignment. It works because it actually matches how soil wants to function. Instead of forcing decomposition, it cooperates with it. And instead of isolating compost, it integrates it. When compost is supported by a living layer, it stops being just a pile and becomes a process that never shuts down. Comfrey doesn't just feed the soil, it connects it. And once those connections form, the garden, well, it starts working as one system instead of a bunch of separate parts. That's when compost really becomes alive. Gentle herb gardening.